Hey there, welcome back to another review. This time it's a request by a YouTuber named Pippity Boopla. Interesting username. Don't have a problem with it. It definitely does stand out. He actually sent me a video link to a video that he actually made requesting me to review this movie, Orphan, which honestly, if you're gonna go out of your way and make a video asking me to do something, I'm gonna do it. I'll do it as soon as I possibly can because I mean that's a lot of work. That's a lot of thought to put into something. I mean, to go in and go out of your way and make a video, to ask little old me to do a video. I mean, that's crazy. Um, so yeah, it's kind of humbling too, but it's really cool though. Anyway, so he asked me for my thoughts on Orphan, and it's a film that I remember seeing years ago, like renting it or watching it with my dad or something, and I remember not really being a fan of it, but I watched it again thanks to the request, and I really liked it. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was great. There was only like a couple things about it that I had problems with. Mainly, the dad character I thought was written a bit too dumb for my tastes, especially near the end of the film. And I thought it could have been tuned up. It was kind of a bit too slow paced at times. It kind of gets stuck in the mud. But other than that, I think it's an excellent film. I think it's a horror gem for the new generation. Orphan is a 2009 film. It's directed by Jaume Collet-Serra, who I think he's a pretty talented director. He directed Nonstop, which I wasn't really the biggest fan of, but his directorial debut was House of Wax, which I thought was actually a pretty underrated remake. It's the one with Paris Hilton. And he also did a film called Run All Night with Liam Neeson. But yeah, I thought his directing in this was honestly really, really stellar. It was top notch. It was a sight to behold. His directing in this. This is a very, very well directed film. Finely crafted movie. It's not your typical horror film. The way that it's shot is something like straight out of a classic, just, a classic film like, The Changeling, things like that. Just really, really superior, superb, outstanding direction by Jaume Collet-Serra. Probably the best direction that I've seen from him is in this movie, Orphan. It features a screenplay by David Leslie Johnson. I think for the most part, the screenplay is really it's definitely a good screenplay. It's a wonderful first-rate screenplay for the most part, except for some second-rate little things that ultimately don't affect my overall enjoyment of the film too much. It just affects my rating of the movie. Um, Mainly the dumb dad stuff, which does bug me, I have to admit. Music by John Ottman, which it isn't particularly memorable, but it does work with the film. It is a nice companion piece for the movie. And cinematography by Jeff Cutter. Oh man, the cinematography by Jeff Cutter is very underrated. He just does such a beautiful job here. There's some absolutely stunning looking shots in this, and some great transition sequences. Some great transitions that just really just are some of the best that I've seen a horror film have. So, yeah, there's a lot of good things in this, a lot of great things in Orphan. You have the cast, which for the most part, I think they all do a great job. Vera Farmiga, who I've always liked her. I thought she was a very personable, relatable actress. I mean, the first time I saw her really was in The Conjuring, and I thought she was great in that. And it was really nice to see her in this, and she was great in this as well as Kate Coleman. Peter Sarsgaard as her husband, he's there. I think it's more of the way his character is written that's a problem to me, not really his performance. He comes across as kind of a dick later on, and a dumb dick. Not just a dick, but a dumb dick, which is probably worse than just being a dick. Isabelle Fuhrman, unbelievable performance by her. One of the most just killer, absolutely killer, awesome performances by a young cast member I can think of. I mean, a little, she was pretty young when she performed this role, and she knocked it out of the park. It's really too bad. She hasn't really done much since. I think she's in that new Stephen King movie, Cell. I haven't heard good things about that movie at all. But yeah, she played both roles. Spoilers. She played young. She played Esther, and she played the 9-year-old girl, and she played the 30-year-old, the real Esther, which was honestly really impressive. She pulled off both roles. Probably one of the most impressive child actor performances I've honestly ever seen. So yeah, C.C.H. Pounder is in this. She plays Sister Abigail. Just a little brief role. It's one of the few films that she's in that doesn't suck. I mean, she was in RoboCop 3. They're taking our homes! Uh, so, yeah, she's there. She's not asked to do too much, though. So it's not like she's really uh, an annoyance or anything. She does a good job of what she's asked to do, which is very supporting, which is a pretty much a supporting role. And then you have the kids in the family. One of them is played by an actor named Jimmy Bennett, who was one of the kids in the Amityville Horror remake with Ryan Reynolds. He plays Danny Coleman in this, and I gotta say, he does a better job here than he did in Amityville Horror. Margo Martindale plays Dr. Browning in this. Margo Martindale, you might recognize. She was, she's been in a lot of stuff. Um, she was in The Rocketeer as Millie. So I recognize her from The Rocketeer as the character of Millie. But yeah, she's in this as the psychiatrist. And Aryana Engineer plays Max Coleman. She's this little girl, the youngest daughter of Vera Farmiga's character, Kate, she has hearing loss. And so, yeah, she does a decent job too. But pretty much that's mainly your cast. It's a pretty small cast. But they all do very good jobs. When we get to the plot here, it's a film that has a running time of 123 minutes, and that is a bit long, I have to admit. There are times where it kind of drags, and that's one of the problems I do have with the movie, is that it does drag a little bit. And, if it was a little bit tighter in terms of its pacing, I probably would like it even more, but I still really like the film regardless. Um, you have this family, Kate and John Coleman, the Coleman family, Vera Farmiga and Peter Sarsgaard. They're experiencing little cracks in their marriage after their third child is stillborn. The film opens up with a really fucked up, crazy dream sequence, which is certifiably it's definitely horrifying. Even if you're not a mother or you have been a mother, it's still a pretty horrifying nightmare sequence to open up the film. This loss is particularly hard on Kate, who is also recovering from alcoholism because she was an alcoholic. The couple decides to adopt a 9-year-old Russian girl named Esther, played by Isabelle Fuhrman, from a local orphanage. Kate and John's deaf daughter Max, played by Aryana Engineer, embraces Esther immediately. Their son, Jimmy Bennett, is not he doesn't embrace her. In fact, he doesn't like her because she's kind of embarrassing to him and really makes him look bad to his friends at school. Because she's kind of an old school girl. She wears like these really old looking, clothes and things like that. So Kate suspects there might be some problems in Esther's background when Esther's knowledge of sex extends beyond her age, and it's a pretty crazy scene because she walks in and she sees Kate and John having kitchen sex, which I kind of think is kind of an unnecessary scene. But hey, you get to see Vera Farmiga in her underwear, so maybe it isn't unnecessary. But anyway, but she walks in on the sex scene, and then Kate has this conversation with her later, and she's all like, "No, I know what you're talking about. Um, they fuck." Like she knows what fucking is, and you're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that is kind of something that a girl her age probably shouldn't know." But her husband buffs it off. He's like, "Oh, whatever. She might have learned it from someone. Where? Where did she learn it from? The kids in the orphanage? Her parents? I don't know. I don't know where she learned what fucking is before she was 9 years old. And I don't know. I'm just saying. Or just her suspicions deepen when Esther injures another girl who had bullied her at school in a pretty brutal scene where she shoves her off the playground and she falls, and it's a good looking effect because she falls and the girl breaks her leg and you see the leg just buckle and snap. It's definitely practical. They don't shy away from showing it either. They're not like, oh, it's a kid, we can't show the kid get hurt. No, they show that. Kate is then further alarmed when Sister Abigail, played by C.C.H. Pounder, and Sister Abigail, really, I mean, really, the name Abigail, that's such a cliche, I gotta be honest. Sister Abigail, cliched nun name. She's pretty much a cliched nun character anyway. Uh, so she's the head of the orphanage. She warns her that bad things happen when Esther is around. Esther overhears this, plots to use Max to distract Sister Abigail and then kill her. She pushes Max into the path of Sister Abigail's car, forcing her to swerve off the road. Esther then kills Sister Abigail with a hammer, and then forces Max to help her hide the weapon in their treehouse. So it gets pretty fucked up, but it takes a while to get there. This happens like in like the 50-minute mark or something, in a movie that's like 123 minutes long, if I remember correctly. Kay is convinced that something's very wrong with Esther, but John does not believe her because he's, I don't, yeah, no, you're the problem here. But she's just a normal girl. She didn't act that way around me. Kate then finds Esther's hidden Bible, discovers it came from the Soren Institute in Estonia, which is a mental hospital. It's a nut house. She emails a picture of Esther to them and asks for more information. She even prints off this Soren Institute and proof that she was enrolled there and shows it to her husband in one scene in this film. And her husband's like, that's just a piece of paper. I'm like, you're a fucking dumbass. Oh, you know what? That's just a piece of paper. You're a fucking dumbass. How about that? You're just a dumbass. You're just a dumbass dad, aren't you? That's not just a piece of paper. That's proof that she's not who you think she is. She was in an institution. What? It's just a piece of paper. What the fuck? I'll smack you upside the head with this piece of paper, you dumbass. You dumb fuck. Anyway, so, yeah, he doesn't believe his wife at all. So Daniel learns about Sister Abigail's death. He tells Max of his plan to retrieve the hammer to prove Esther's guilt. Esther, of course, overhears this, confronts Daniel at the treehouse, sets it ablaze, and an admittedly kind of shitty-looking CGI fire effect, an attempt to destroy the evidence. Daniel falls from a tree trying to escape and is knocked unconscious, and he's hurt pretty badly. He breaks his neck. He's sent to the hospital, and Esther attempts to finish him off with a pillow, but Max stops her. Actually, Esther attempts to finish him off with a rock when he's on the ground, but Max stops her, which was a nice little scene for the little girl to stand up to Esther finally and save her brother. Daniel's hospitalized. Esther slips into his rooms, tries to smother him with a pillow. So makes the security in this hospital must be terrible. It must be the worst ever. So tries to stops his heart, but the doctors actually revive him, which I thought was a surprise. I thought, oh, they're gonna kill the kid, and they're like, no, actually, he's alive. All right, wow, I was shocked. I gotta admit, nice job, David Leslie Johnson. You surprised me. Kate realizes what happened and attacks Esther. You fucking bitch, and then hits her in the face. But she looks like a little girl, so don't be hitting 9-year-old girls. And she gets restrained, sedated. That night, a provocatively dressed Esther tries to seduce a drunken John, who finally realizes that Kate was right. Finally, after all of that, I mean, he even tries to set up his wife to go back to rehab. He finds that she had wine that she bought, and she's telling the truth. She's like, they found a bottle of wine that was unopened, and she's like, I bought them. Yes, I bought those bottles of wine last night. I fucked up, and I was gonna drink one, but I didn't do it. I poured the wine down the sink. I didn't drink any of it. And they're like, yeah, yeah, really. Yeah, I buy that. Yeah, we'll set up, a rehab, go to rehab type deal. And I'm like, she told me I need to go to rehab, and I said, no, no, no. And really, she really had a reason to be like, no, no, no. Because she actually did. She showed a lot of intestinal fortitude and poured the wine down the sink. I like that scene and I like that moment where she's stressed out and nobody wants to believe her about Esther being some crazy bitch who and crazy person been in an institution. Nobody wants to believe her, and so she thinks about drinking and then she doesn't do it. It's a very strong character. You want a strong female character? Here you go, Vera Farmiga's character in Orphan. She's not a dumbass either, which I really do appreciate. Um, she's strong and smart, and she's likable, and she's hot. So the kind of approachable hot though, the type of hot that comes, she's beautiful, but she also has intelligence. I find that actually the sexiest. A woman who's not only beautiful to look at, but also has a lot up here. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't find Megan Fox hot because just she's an airhead, she's just a bimbo, and it's not really my thing. But anyway, let's actually get to the movie and stop talking about Vera Farmiga and how hot she is. Um, so yeah, her husband finally realizes Kate was right. He tells Esther that her future with the Colemans is at stake, which upsets her, pisses her off. Kate receives a call from Dr. Varava, who's played by Karel Roden, director of the Saarinen Institute, reveals that Esther is, spoiler, actually a 33-year-old woman named Lena Clammer who has hypopituitarism. Hypopituitarism. Sorry. This is a hard word to pronounce. A hormone disorder that stunted her physical growth, and that she has spent most of her life posing as a little girl and had people adopt her with the goal of seducing the father and having a sexual, salacious relationship with him. But none of it works out because they all. I mean, really? Really? You really think that was going to work out? Of course, but she's crazy, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, so, yeah, all the guys are like, no, you're like a 9-year-old girl. What? No, this is wrong. Statutory rape. No. No, 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 no. But it's consensual. Still, no. Underage sex. No. And it was like, but I'm not underage. I'm a full grown woman. What? No. But she doesn't really reveal that. She still acts like a little girl, but dresses up with makeup and a pretty dress. So no, there's no way that any self-respecting guy would be like, yeah, yeah, unless he's a pedophile, because she hasn't really found any pedo dads yet. Uh, but then the pedo dad would find out that she's not really a little girl; she's actually a 32-year-old woman, and he'd probably break up with her then anyway. So anyway, what happens is they find out the truth, or she finds out that they don't want her, so then she pissed off and kills these people, and burns the house down, and just basically that's pretty much what her MO is. That's what she does. So Kate, with this new knowledge, is trying to get back home, races back home in her car in the snow, and that's a big thing in this movie. It takes place during the winter, and that's where a lot of the just beautiful shots are set up in this film. It just did a great job incorporating, the snow and the look of winter and all of that into this movie. And she spins out and crashes through the front door of her car to try to stop Esther, prevent her family from suffering the same fate. But she arrives too late because her husband gets stabbed to death by Lena. which honestly, since the character wasn't that well written and he was really a dumbass, he was kind of a dick to his wife. I gotta be honest. I honestly think he deserved it for being. I didn't say he deserved it, but I'm gonna say I'm not gonna mourn for him. Like, don't cry for me. I'm not gonna cry for this guy. Don't cry for me, Argentina. I'm not gonna cry for this guy. Not crying for John. No tears are being shed for John in this movie. So he gets killed because he's pretty much a dumbass. And so then she ransacks her room, and she reveals that, of course, this is actually before where this is a nice reveal scene where she reveals that she's not who you think she is. She reveals her little girl makeup, reveals the scars from a straitjacket and weathered skin, and then she goes and kills John with a knife. And it's a very suspenseful, pretty tense climactic sequence here. Max witnesses and hides. Kate rushes home and finds John dead. Lena gets a gun from John's safe and shoots Kate in the arm. Kate manages to take the gun and then flee with Max. Lena finds Kate and Max near a frozen pond. Actually, before this, there's this whole thing where it's a really suspenseful scene where Max is hiding in a greenhouse. Here comes Lena. She's got the gun, and Kate managed to smash through the skylight, fall on top of Lena, and knock her out. And then you think, okay, that might be it. But no, it isn't. Because, she thinks that might be it because she ends up grabbing her, her daughter, and then walks outside in the snow. Here's the police cars. All right, it's going to be fine. But no. Nope. Lena survives. She shows up and tries to stab Kate and Max near a frozen pond. She lunges at Kate, hurls them both into the ice. Kate climbs partially out of the pond. Lena, she's holding on to Kate while Kate's trying to get out of the pond, get out of the icy, cold grave, so to speak, that she's kind of in right now. And I love this scene. It's totally badass. It's awesome. And Lena goes in and tries to go into her little girl persona, and she's all like, you know, the whole she's like, "Oh, mommy, help me, mommy, save me, mommy," and she's like, "I'm not your fucking mommy," and then kicks her so hard in the head that she fucking breaks her neck, and then Lena just falls down into the icy grave. And it's just a great scene. I know there's like critics who hate that scene. I don't know why. I think it's a great way to end the movie. It's badass. You got an awesome one-liner. Vera Farmiga's like, "I'm not your fucking mommy." It's a great crowd-pleasing moment. It's better than the alternate ending, which is some bullshit sequel bait crap where, oh, she's still alive. And yeah, there you go. And apparently, I guess she's gonna start a new reign of terror. No, I'm glad it didn't have a sequel bait ending. I know people are like, well, horror films should be unhappy. No, they don't have to have unhappy endings. There's a lot of horror films that do have somewhat happy endings, but are good that I really like. You don't have to always have an unhappy ending in a horror film. You can have an ending like this, which is still pretty tragic. It's not like, ooh, it's sunshine and rainbows here. The dad is still dead. The children are still scarred for life. And yeah, it's not really a happy ending. It's still pretty messed up. But Max and Kate though reunite and they're met by the police later, and then that's pretty much the movie. That's Orphan. I also wanted to mention one other particular sequence in this, where this blacklight scene where the father goes in and he looks in and checks out Esther's room, and he uses his black light and sees that there's something that's on the fish tank. He sees there's something on the wall, and then he uses a black light to see everything in the room, and there's all these twisted artwork that you see that's all like messed up, and scenes of Esther all grown up, like fucking snogging, lip locking John while she's naked, showing her tits. It's just absolutely disturbing scene. It's a great reveal, and the artwork. Whoever did the artwork, they did a great job with the art because it's certifiably depraved. So I just wanted to mention that, but this particular sequence before I forgot it. But Yeah, Orphan is a really great movie. It's a great horror film. It's a good thriller. It's like I said, the pacing could be better. Could cut out 20 minutes or something like that. Make it a little bit more tightly paced, tightly wound, and I would definitely cut down on the dumb dad bits. This is just a piece of paper. Um, but yeah, other than those things, I don't have very many problems with the movie. I really don't. Um, I would definitely love to add this to my collection sometime. Apparently it's not on Blu-ray in the US, but it is overseas. I don't know why, but I do want to get the film on Blu-ray sometime, and I think it's on Blu-ray in like Spain, like a Spanish Blu-ray, and it has some features on it. So I definitely like to pick that up sometime. It's not only in Spanish; it's also in English and a bunch of other languages. This is a film that I wasn't really that keen on from the beginning, when I first saw it, but when I saw it again, I really grew to really like the film. So I would definitely say this is definitely a movie, if you ask me, that is worth giving another shot. If you're like me and you were like, it wasn't really my movie type of movie, I think it's worth another look. So anyway, I don't know what to say about Orphan, except as a rate out of 5 stars, I would give the movie four, yeah, 4 out of 5, because the pacing and a little bit too much dumb dad stuff for my taste. But other than that, it's got likable characters, a likable family that really does make you care about them. So the suspense actually does build, and there's actual terror and there's actual tension throughout the entire film. It's got great performances by Vera Farmiga and Isabelle Fuhrman. It's excellent direction by Sarah, and a unique concept. It was interesting, and it was pretty, for the most part, very well executed. So anyway, thank you for watching, and as always, I will see you guys later. See ya.